Hello everyone, happy Friday. Welcome to today's Instagram Live. I hope everyone's having a lovely day. It's almost the weekend, whatever that means anymore. I have just spent the last hour getting my hair cut, which is nice and short now. Looks really good. Really happy with it. So yes, today on the show we're going to be having Alex Rogers on the show with us today. She is going to be talking to us about her lockdown and how she's been getting on, all the things in between. We're going to be talking about some somatic psychology and some meditation and everything wellness, basically. I'm really excited about this chat today, and we'll go from there. So yeah, let's hopefully she'll be ready to go soon. Hello. How are you?
Nice haircut.
Yeah, look, right. The sides are looking a lot better than they were, and it's doing its thing. It looks really good. It looks really good.
Love
How are
it.
you? Happy Friday.
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you doing?
Amazing. Yes, I'm super good, super good. I'm really excited for this chat. I have been looking forward to it all week because there's so many things that we want to talk about that I've never heard of. You know, when we're messaging each other, and you're saying like, what is it you do, and all this sort of stuff. You came out with some incredible things. So, for those that are watching that maybe don't know who you are and what you do you want to give them a rundown of what it is and who you are?
So I'm Alex Rogers, and yeah, I mean, today I wanted to talk about yin yoga and meditation and a little bit about somatic psychology, which is more just the way in which we hold ourselves and our body and how that can affect the mindset and how we think. Um, but yin yoga, I think, is such a huge topic and such a broad topic that we could
Yeah,
be here until Instagram lock us off. And there's so much to share. So yin
perfect. I'll tell
yoga.
you what. So yin yoga is something that I've heard the phrase, but I've not quite. I don't know what it is exactly. So, what is yin yoga? If you were sitting with me in an elevator on the way to a yoga studio, we're about to go and do it. What is yin yoga?
So yeah, I feel like a lot of people have obviously heard the word yoga before and they know what yoga is, um, but they don't know what yin is, yin yoga, and I feel that it's quite important for us to understand that yin is the opposite of yang, and
Okay.
yin and yang are polar opposites, but they also come together as a whole to make us whole. And if we look at the yin and yang symbol, that shows us that half of our life should be yin and half of our life should be yang. And that we
Is that
should.
the black and white one that sort of sits
Yeah, I've
like
actually got it on
like that?
black. I don't know if you can
It's
see.
like oh yes, yeah, I can see. Okay. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So they're
Yeah.
intertwined
You can see in a
like this.
usual yin and yang symbol that you'd have like a small little dot, so black and white,
Yeah.
and a small dot in each, a small dot of white in the black portion, and a small bit of white in the black. And that's just showing us that we can never be just yang or we can never be just yin, that they go hand in hand, they come together to make the whole. And so yin is the more calm and less energetic, the female, as opposed to yang being masculine. So yin is, you know, if we look at duality, it's not good and it's not bad. Yin is just has very different characteristics to yang. And I feel that it's so important because I feel that we are all so yang in our lives. I can see Cam's just joined in. And I think we all, you know, me and Cam, we have good chats about this. And we're becoming a lot more easily able to talk about it. You know, it's okay that we're yang, it's okay that we're energetic, and it's okay that we really want to get stuff done and we want to be super efficient all the time, and we always want to do stuff. So if we term yin yoga as the art of non-doing, so that's what Buddha said, you know, the art of non-doing is so important, because we always feel like we need to be doing something all the time, and that we're not achieving if we're not doing. And we're not very good at doing nothing, you know, and that's
Yeah.
meditation really. It's not like you have to sit there and do nothing and think about nothing and nothing can come into your mind. Our brains are very intelligent, and you know, humans have evolved to have these amazing brains. Sometimes, you know, I think sometimes we're often thinking.
Oh,
There you are.
we're back. We're back. Sorry, you went. I think signal went for a little bit then. Yes, carry on. I think I was following along with, yeah, the meditation of yin and yang. I think it's super important that with particularly with yoga, because it's sort of thought as and known as a way of obviously being an exercise, but also a, a meditation form. And so when you actually practice yin yang or yin yoga, are you relaxing, or are you doing are you doing more of the exercise side of it?
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% relaxed, and the concept behind that is that when you support the bones, the ligaments, and the tendons, then the muscles and fascia can completely relax. And yin is almost like a bit of a life lesson. You know, it's not just an exercise. It's more, if we look at the three principles of yin, the first one is finding your appropriate edge. So when you come into a pose, completely relaxed, there should even be no sort of holding your head. Be completely round the back, and that way we can come into complete relaxation. And finding your edge is like the first principle. So finding that place where you feel traction on the fascia and you feel that you're stretching, but it's not yang. It's not so much that you're in pain, or you know how, and I feel with guys, especially masculine being the yang, that when males come into a stretch, usually you want to sort of go hard, go in quite strong. And
Absolutely. I don't sort of feel it unless it's going hard. I'm sort of like one of those people that's like, yeah, I need to feel it. It needs to hurt for me to feel like I'm actually getting anything out of it.
yeah, exactly. And we're all like that, you know, it's the way we've been conditioned, that again, we must push ourselves to breaking point to be achieving something. And that's the beauty of yin, is that you don't need to push yourself to pain. And again, like, I feel like I really want to push this point that in the fitness industry, where people are saying no pain, no gain, and the whole fitness industry is based around like pushing yourself really, really hard. Um, and what are we actually achieving out of that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost like where does it
It
stop?
hasn't
Where does
affected um, my cardiovascular system. It hasn't affected my fitness levels per se. Um, so yeah, I think we've been very conditioned that we must push ourselves as hard as we can. Um,
yeah, I agree. I think that there's a lot to be said for, as you said yourself, put no pain, no gain. That's the thing you hear around the gym and around the sort of fitness industry a lot. But ultimately, people are um, are pushing themselves, and but where's the limit? That's the thing. It's like, how far can you run? How much can you lift? How much can you hold your breath underwater? Whatever the sort of the measure is, but what is it actually doing to your body? And it's like, is it stressing you out more than actually just being able to just be fit and be healthy and be happy with with what you're doing? And I think it's super important to find that I suppose that happy place that you can go to. You know, people have different ways in which they can find that flow state. I think that's what I like to call it anyway. For me, swimming is my flow state. Like, I get in a pool and I turn into Dory. I just keep swimming all day long, and I love it, right? And I know people that do the same for running or for yoga or for weightlifting or for anything, but it's about getting your head in that right frame of mind and enjoying for what it is, rather than it just being an exercise or a weight loss thing or, you know, a fitness thing. It's a complete full body, you know, relaxation as well as euphoric session as well, because people get a lot out of it. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So moving on to like the psychology stuff that you do as well, because I'm super interested in this. What is somatic psychology?
Well, somatic psychology looks at your body postures and the
Yeah,
way you hold yourself, and in turn, how that affects your mental state. So, for example, shoulders rolled forwards in a kind of position like this, shoulders forwards, curled up in, is a very is sort of a position that you might take if you were feeling not so confident. If you're feeling confident, you'd hold your shoulders back, and completely different body language.
yeah,
And so, for example, putting it into yin yoga, if we do a heart opening pose where we lie with a bolster underneath the thoracic spine and start to open up the chest, you can start to feel a lot different just because you're holding yourself in a different way. And I think the most common, like being a personal trainer and seeing people all day long, the majority of people are quite internally rotated at the shoulders. And that's
yeah,
just because everything that we do, holding things and on our phones and laptops, and a lot of the stuff that we do is, you know, hands in front. And a good way of testing that, are you still with me, Jack?
yeah. I'm still here.
Okay. You're frozen.
Oh, am I? Oh, it was doing a bit on your side as well. I'm not sure. It's okay. I can hear you still, and everything's still going fine. Hello. Technical technical difficulties on a Friday night. I think it's must be the building that I'm in is everyone's downloading something to watch for Friday night movie night maybe. Up again. Oh, okay. Looks like Alex left. We'll get her back on in a minute. Sorry about this, guys. I'll hopefully get Alex to be on with us again in a second. I think it was just some technical difficulties on the Wi-Fi side of things. But if anyone has any questions, by the way, please do send them in, write them in here, or I can press a little thing in the bottom there, and we can get some questions up for Alex as well if anyone has something they want to ask her along the way. Let's see if this connects again. We're back. We're back. Hey.
The bicep flex for you.
Amazing. Sorry, we got cut off there. I think it might be the Friday night Wi-Fi dilemma, which is going on
It
at the
could
moment.
be
So,
on
you know,
my.
everyone's like, "What do we watch Friday night for movies?" And everyone's downloading illegal films. I think that's what's going on.
It could be on my end. You know, I'm interested in creating a Faraday cage, which is not having any Wi-Fi and that 5G that's gonna get us. You know, so got to
Ah,
protect
yes, that
yourself.
thing coming in.
But no,
Yeah,
I
we're not
was
really sure
saying
what that's all about.
I was talking about how when we sort of open up the chest and stuff, about how we start to change the psychology. And what I was talking about was that everyone that I take care of, and a lot of people that I meet, are quite internally rotated at the shoulders. And a good way of testing that is when we just stand up naturally and hang the arms by the sides.
Yeah.
The hands should hang right by your side, and the thumbs should be pointing forwards, or even a tiny bit turned out. So if you was to stand up
Like this.
back, we've got an image of your crotch.
I know. Sorry, I'm sitting on a bed. That's why. Everyone's loving the crotch view. But yes, I see what you mean, because it's very much like you stand up and
you're not sitting. When you're standing as well is a bit better, but hands by the side, and literally just allow them to like naturally hang by your sides. And
yeah,
if the thumbs are like usually turned forward, like pointing in like this, then it just means that we're like internally rotated. Like the shoulder joint is in an internal rotation position, a little bit more
right.
so should. So yeah, it's quite rare to find someone that has a natural external rotation of the shoulder. And so opening up the chest should feel really nice for most people. And you'll notice if you do try yin yoga, which I hope you will, you'll notice if you sort of place a bolster right underneath the thoracic spine, so bra line, which you probably don't know where that is, but it's
totally, I know exactly where that is.
Yeah, it's really nice, like, and it actually feels, so again, you're not doing a huge amount, you're not exercising, you're not pushing yourself hard, but because you're taking a very different position to what you're used to, your physical body is used to being in a certain position. And when you, the second principle of yin is the time that we hold for. So we hold for a long time. And if we were to hold, say, a thoracic opening with a bolster underneath the thoracic spine for 4 or 5 minutes, you'll notice when you get up from that very slowly and carefully that you might be like, oh my God, what the hell has happened to my spine? It's like, it's unbelievable, you know, you feel so much going on. And that's why with yin yoga, we take what we call a rebound pose. So a rebound pose is, if we did an hour and a half long class, we might only take about 6 poses in total, 5 or 6. And that's because the magic essence is the time that we're holding for a long time. So you might hold a pose for, if you're just starting, 2 to 5 minutes. When you're more experienced with it, you might want to hold for as long as you want to. So I would even sometimes hold a pose for 20 minutes, or I might fall asleep in that pose. And then the reason that you take a rebound afterwards is to allow what you've just done to sort of take hold in the body, and to just give yourself that time to let it sink in, let it marinate, is how I like to think of it. You know, like making good stew. You've got, you know, the next day,
let it stew there for a little bit.
Yeah, let it stew, let it settle a little bit, and it's also, you know, the psychological aspect of it is the stillness. So the third principle of yin is stillness. So once you've found that appropriate edge of sensation, not too much, you're not feeling any pain, but you're also feeling a nice stretch on not just the muscles, but the fascia and the ligaments and the tendons. Then once you've found that, what we call the edge, is we hold for a good substantial amount of time. And then the third principle is stillness. So finding some stillness in that. And that sort of, all 3 of those principles I see as quite interesting life lessons, because it's sort of teaching you that even though you're at your edge and you might be a little bit uncomfortable, can you find stillness, and can you be okay with being uncomfortable? Can you find peace with being, you know, in a place that is challenging?
I suppose that links right into what we're doing right now in lockdown, and I think that it's funny how back before this all kicked off, people weren't actually aware of the ability of stopping, slowing down, having that stillness that you talk about, because there was no need to. Everything was just like 5 miles an hour, like 50 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour in like one direction. And now we've been told to like stop, stay at home, don't do anything, just be like a human and live.
And you
Right?
know what? I said a lot of my friends are joining now, and they will know, because I've said this to them, that when lockdown kicked off, not only was I saying like I can't wait for a bit of time to chill, but I also said to a lot of friends, I said, people are gonna really, really struggle with this, because you have to be with yourself.
Yeah.
And like that's the essence of yin yoga. It's like being with yourself, you
And
know,
being okay
that's
with
what
that.
it
I
is.
think a lot of people feel uncomfortable with that sort of stuff. You know, I read a really interesting article the other day actually that talked about like the world we live in today being an instant gratification world, and saying how when was the last time you felt bored? Like genuinely bored. You know, like nowadays, if you're bored, you flip your phone out or you flick something on Netflix or you, I don't know, do something, but it's usually digital based, right? Now, when you're bored in the past, like I remember when I was like 10 years old and I was bored, I'd like, I don't know, poke my sister, or I'd go and climb a tree or kick a football against the wall for 3 hours. I was just like killing time. But during that time, you think about stuff and you become kind of like very good at being on your own. So I
Mm.
think that a lot of people don't actually understand what it's like to be bored and therefore be able to be okay with just being here and with ourselves. And I think we need to, I think we need to be a lot more aware of that, because who knows how long this could go on for. And it's so much better for the mental health of people to be able to just be okay with what's going on, and understanding that it's okay to just take some time for you and take some time to be on your own. How have you found it without obviously having the ability to go and do classes and run your business and everything like that during lockdown, to help your customers and help your friends and your family with keeping that mindset and keeping everything chilled and relaxed and zen?
Yeah, I feel like I do sort of struggle to get this point across, about yin yoga and about meditation. I was actually just talking to someone earlier that I could see is really struggling, because he was saying that people are becoming scared and quite irritated about it, and annoyed. So I sort of just offered him some advice, which was that it's like anything in life, you have to just practice. So anything
Yeah,
that you want to be good at, you have to practice it. How did we learn to walk and talk? We just kept doing it, and you become good at it. And
yeah,
so it's exactly the same with meditation. You know, it's not something that you need to be sat in a room on your own, cross-legged on the floor with your fingers like this. It has to be part of your life. You know, you have to practice, practice, practice all the time. So just simply becoming aware of how you feel about certain things, and if you can snap like, oh, okay, I'm feeling this, I'm expressing. And I think a really interesting point that I like to explain to people is, if you look at little children, a little child will express their emotions, and if they're upset about something, you'll know about it. They'll express it and they'll have a little tantrum and kick off about it. And if you ask them the next day, you know, what were you upset about, they probably won't remember.
Yeah.
Because they've moved that energy. So emotions are energy in motion. That energy moves through you, and as you express it, you're releasing that energy. And I think as we've got older and our ego tells us we're not allowed to express certain things, it's not okay to cry, or it's not okay to be really, really happy all the time, or, you know, we're constantly thinking, oh, you know, we're trying to repress stuff. And as we repress that, we hold it in the body. So you actually hold certain emotions in the organs. So with yin yoga, we concentrate on Chinese medicine theory. And Chinese medicine theory is based upon meridian lines.
Yeah.
And they're all paired with organs of the body. So for example, the kidney and bladder meridian runs through the kidneys, through the bladder, down the back of the leg, and ends in the little toe. And as we stimulate, as we do, say, a forwards fold, or we stimulate the back of the legs, we're stimulating the kidney bladder meridian line. And this meridian line is associated with certain emotions. So if you have weak energy that flows through this meridian line, then you might suffer with anxiety or fear. Fear is what we associate with the kidney bladder meridian line, and the adrenals sit just on top of the kidneys. So essentially you're squeezing that whole system with fear. And I feel like that's a big one for me to talk about at the moment, because I feel like fear is like a weapon of mass destruction. We don't see it as a weapon. You know, we see a weapon as being a knife or a gun.
Yeah.
But fear, that's why fear is such a powerful weapon for them to use on us, not just like cripple our immune system and make us ill, but it's also controls us. So we're more easily controlled when we're in fear. And so it's like a vicious cycle. If you are fearful, you're going to have weak kidney bladder meridian energy. And because you've got weak energy in that meridian line, you're going to feel more fearful. So when we stimulate that meridian line, you get a surge of energy pumping through it.
Yeah.
And, you know, what's the opposite of fear? Courage. So,
courage, power.
Yeah, trust me, you do a few little poses that stimulate the kidney and bladder meridian line, and you feel like a boss. You were like, I got this.
I love that.
Like, who would have known that doing a simple stretch would be so profoundly amazing for we're not just stretching the legs. We're not trying to get more flexibility. Okay, yeah, that is a bonus, that we become more flexible.
Yeah.
But it's so much deeper than that. And that's why when people always say to me, they want to come and try yin, but they say to me, oh, I can't do yoga because I'm not flexible. So yeah, I think that it's for everyone, you know, and especially people that feel that they're not flexible enough.
Yeah, and as you said yourself, yoga is something that is, I think a lot of people take the word meditation, the word yoga, the word mindfulness, and bung them together in this ball of like, oh, I'm not into that, so I don't think I can do any of it, right? And I think that's just being quite closed in your mindset around what it is, because ultimately, like you know, we were talking about before, meditation doesn't have to be sitting cross-legged on the floor with your fingers like this, you know, humming a tune. I meditate by swimming or running. Like, I get into my zone, I just switch off and think about whatever's going on in my head, but I always feel better for it. And it took me a while to realize that's what it was. But, you know, and in mindfulness as well, like you were saying, when when something comes into your your energy, if you're feeling great and then suddenly you're like, ooh, what's that feeling? If you let it control you, then you're gonna feel the full force of it. But the brilliant thing about us humans is we have the choice. We have the choice to either react to it or let it go. And letting it go is the best thing you can do. But it has to sit with you for 5, 10, 15 minutes for you to realize what it is and be aware of it before it can just go off. And so, I'd say that a lot of what I do and a lot of things that I teach my clients is that if something comes up that happens, you should definitely try and write things down, even in note bullet point form, because it can sometimes help you process what's actually going on. So keep a journal next to your bed or on your phone or whatever, and just like note when a feeling comes into your mind. And sometimes that feeling can be repeated over and over and over again. So if you have a day where you're suddenly feeling like fear all the time, or anxiety, or stress, or worry, or whatever it might be, if you've got that listed in your phone, say 3 or 4, 5 times, then you can start noticing when they happened and why they happened. Were you anxious when you left the house, or when you went into a shop, or when you met that person, or whatever it might be? And you can start to see a correlation between what it is. And if you know what it is, then you can basically look at it from a very logical point of view and go, well, that's making me feel like this, so I'm going to address that and work out a way in which you can essentially get over it and move forward with it in a healthy way. So I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize their feelings and acknowledge them. They just think, oh fuck, whatever, I'm just having one of those days, which
Yeah,
people do have all the time.
yeah. I think, like you're saying, with letting it go, I think as well, sometimes we want to brush it off and
Yeah,
not deal with it. And that is exactly what repressing emotions are. So, like you're saying, you're basically saying to become more aware, is just simply like becoming more aware of how you're feeling.
yeah,
And also, I think from there, you can then start to assess why it is. And that's the deeper delving into your past sort of traumas
yeah,
and your triggers, because when you start to then say, oh, okay, I don't just feel this anxiety or whatever it is you feel, um, you can actually assess, okay, maybe I feel this way because, and you soul journey. So soul journeying is a deep art that takes a very, very long time to be able to do. um, you have to have years and years of practicing to be able to actually journey back to parts of your soul through meditation to find these traumas and actually kind of like give yourself love that you needed at that time, and bring basically part of the soul sort of splinters off and
yeah,
gets lost. You know, when people say like, oh, I lost my soul, essentially you lose a part of your soul to traumas. Traumas are not just getting hit round the head with a bat. A trauma can be your dad like saying, why have you not done this? You should have done this, making you feel like you don't do enough, or that you're not proactive enough or something. And then that, it just resonates, you hold it in the body, and then that can trigger you later on in life, and you're completely unaware that you're triggered from this sort of past trauma. But yeah, soul journeying is probably another topic for another chat, because I
absolutely.
could go
Yeah, I mean,
on
we could
all
dive
day
deep,
about it.
deep into that. I do a lot of sort of soul searching with my clients, in the sense of, if they have a feeling of, right, I'm feeling like I need to do more with my life, right? It's not a case of finding the what that thing is. It's a case of why you feel that way. So I look at it like an onion, right? You have the outer layer, which is what you show people. But then if you ask yourself the question of, well, why do you feel like that? Or what makes you feel like that? Or how have you come to that feeling? And sort of dig deep into the history or something that's gone on that has basically sparked that particular emotion. You then get to the next layer, and then you ask the same questions again. So what was it about that particular time that made you feel that way, and now that has given you this emotion going forward, then you dig a bit deeper and a bit deeper and a bit deeper. And at the end of it, what you actually find is that the reason you want to be happy is because you want security, or you want to be loved, or you want to have something to call your own, or whatever it might be. But a lot of people don't find that happiness because they just scratch the surface of what they actually want. They have to dig real deep into the core of their values and beliefs of what they've been conditioned over their entire lives, and really search for it. And it's fascinating when you really get into that with somebody, because you both go on the journey together. And I think it's amazing because people come out always enlightened by it and empowered to go, oh, you know what, that's how I feel now, and I can go and do this and this. And it's like seeing someone, it's like lighting a fuse and seeing their rocket just go like off into the stratosphere. So yeah, it's super cool. It's a really good time. And I would actually like to chat to you another time about that soul searching and going into that. I think that would be a really cool topic of conversation to chat about. But yeah, I've been doing this these questions that I have for my guests over the last 2 weeks, and it's basically just like some quick fire questions for people to get to know you a little bit better from just a quick fire question. Are you happy to do maybe 10, 12 of these questions with me?
Yeah, fire away.
Absolutely. So during quarantine, this is what most of them are centered around, but okay, what has been your favorite takeaway?
I've been cooking. I haven't had a single takeaway, but aside from lockdown and my new artistic skills in the kitchen, I'd say Domino's pizza stand.
Yes, I've been having this argument whether Domino's or Papa John's is better, and I'm like, Domino's has the better sauce.
I used to love Pizza Hut, but my brother squashed it. He was like, nah, can't eat that.
Can't do it. Okay. What is your favorite exercise that you're doing at the moment?
Meditation, yin yoga.
Meditation. Like it. What is your favorite app that you're using on your phone at the moment? Is there have you got one that you're using more than you normally do during lockdown?
Living Ashram.
Living Ashram, okay.
Yeah, it's a meditation app. And also Flourish.
Perfect.
Richie Bosa just
Perfect.
released a new app which is breathing meditations.
Nice.
And
yeah, I've heard Richie
Bosa.
Bosa.
Also breathing meditation.
Amazing. What is the best thing that you've made since you've been in lockdown? Could be anything.
I made a really good spliff the other day. I rolled it in myself.
That sounds good. I like it. What is the best book that you've read recently, and what has it taught you?
Thich Nhat Hanh is one of my favorite authors. The Path to Peace is amazing. Each chapter is about a different type of meditation. So say walking meditation, sitting meditation, driving meditation. Each chapter explains to you how you can build meditation into your everyday life.
Amazing. That sounds good. I need to check that one out. You have to send me the link to that book. What is the best Netflix series you've been watching recently?
I don't watch programs because hence the word program. They are programming us.
Okay.
I saw that there's a series that's just come on about a spiritual leader.
Okay.
And they actually started their own city in a place called Antelope in America. And the people that live in Antelope were like, oh, we've got to get rid of them. They actually bombed them in the end.
Wow.
Yeah, check it out. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's a spiritual leader and it's about a cult.
All right, I'll check it out and have a look. Thank you so much. And what about the first place that you're gonna fly when we're allowed to actually leave the country?
I would say definitely the Caribbean. Nice.
Any particular part?
Barbados.
Where's that? I've never heard of that place. What's it near?
It's because I said it in a Bayesian accent.
Barbados. Oh, there you go. I was like, oh God, here we go. I'm going to be really dumb here and not know where that is. Thank you. What is the best place sorry, what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
My dad told me, and I'm sitting in his chair right now. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he was a businessman, and he told me always stay under the radar.
Stay under the radar. Okay,
Yeah.
like it. That's good. I like it. What is the first thing you do in the morning?
Meditation, breathing.
Meditation. Like it. Like it.
Try not
What
to
do you
look
think?
at my phone first
That's a
thing.
good one. That's a good one. It's so easy to do these days. What do you think is your greatest strength?
Compassion.
I like that. I like that. And then that leads me on to nicely. What if you would describe yourself in 3 words? What would they be?
Deep. Crazy. And humble.
Humble.
Hope.
I like. And I like it. And the last one. What day of the week is it?
It's Friday, motherfucker.
Your face. You were like, is it Friday? I like it.
Friday.
It is Friday. Thank God it's Friday.
You ain't got shit to do.
Exactly. It's Friday. It's TGI Fridays, everyone. Alex, thank you so much for coming on with me today. I really, really appreciate it. Where can people find you if they wanted to get to know you a bit better, wanted to ask you some questions, wanted to just find out a bit more about what you do and where you are? How can people find you?
I'm teaching yin and meditation at Flex Chelsea on the Fulham Road when we're back open, hopefully, fingers crossed. And also at KXU, London.
Perfect.
So,
Fantastic. And
yeah,
obviously people can message you on Instagram and get in touch with you about anything that they need to know about what we chatted about today. Fantastic. And yeah, look, have a lovely weekend. And as I said, it was really nice to chat to you. And hopefully we'll do another one of these again soon. But hopefully we can do them in person in a studio and somewhere a little bit more robust than bedrooms and,
yeah, I'd love that.
and stuff. It would be good. But yes, thank you so much and have a wonderful weekend. Big love. Lovely to see you. Hope everyone had a lovely time watching, and we'll see you all again next week.
Yay. Okay. Thanks for having me, Jack. So good to chat.
No problem at all. Take care. Bye. Thanks, guys, for watching today's Instagram Live with Alex Rogers. If you want to get in touch with her, as I said, just jump on her Instagram. You can DM her with anything you might want to ask about yin yoga and all the stuff we talked about. Super interesting. As I said, I'd love to get her back on again in the future, so we will hopefully make that a reality going forward. But otherwise, have a wonderful weekend, whatever you're up to. Stay safe. I'll see you next week.